3 weeks had passed since Jake arrived at the Star Forge. The training was harder than anything he had experienced on Earth. Every day brought new challenges, and Jake struggled to keep up with the alien recruits. His scores in combat training were the lowest in the group. His energy weapon accuracy was terrible. Even his physical fitness tests put him at the bottom of the rankings. The other recruits never missed a chance to remind him of his failures. During morning exercises, when Jake could barely lift half the weight that Vextor managed easily, the big alien would shake his head and grunt in disapproval. When Jake missed his targets during shooting practice, Kexval would make loud comments about how humans were too weak to hold weapons properly. Perhaps the human should return to his home planet, Quinneth suggested one day after Jake failed another strategy test. His brain appears unable to process complex tactical situations. Jake said nothing. He had learned that defending himself only made things worse. Instead, he focused on improving little by little each day. Buddy was always nearby, watching everything with those bright black eyes. The little creature seemed to understand that Jake was having a hard time. Commander, Velcaris announced a special training exercise on the 4th week. You will be transported to Kepler 7, one of our training moons, he told the recruits. This will be a survival and reconnaissance mission. You will work as a team to explore the jungle environment and report back on what you find. The recruits were excited. This was their first real mission, even if it was just training. They gathered their equipment and boarded a small transport ship. Jake packed his basic gear and made sure Buddy had food and water for the trip. Kepler-7 was a green world covered in thick jungle. The trees were tall and strange, with purple leaves and twisted trunks. The air was warm and humid, and strange sounds came from the forest. Jake had never seen anything like it. Stay together, Commander Velcaris ordered as they prepared to. Leave the landing zone. This is a controlled environment, but treat it as if your lives depend on it. You have 6 hours to complete your reconnaissance and return here. The squad moved into the jungle in formation. Kexval took the lead, his 4 arms carrying different weapons. Vextor brought up the rear, his massive gun ready for anything. Quinneth stayed in the middle, using his sensors to map their route. Jake walked near the back with Buddy riding on his shoulder. The jungle was thick and difficult to move through. Vines hung from the trees, and the ground was soft and muddy. Strange insects buzzed around them, and Jake could hear larger animals moving through the bush. Buddy's ears twitched at every sound, and his nose worked constantly, smelling the air. After 2 hours of walking, they reached a clearing where they could rest. The aliens were confident and relaxed. They had handled the jungle easily, using their natural strength and abilities to push through the difficult terrain. This is too easy, Kexval said, checking his weapons. I expected more challenge from Cosmic Defense Corps' training. Perhaps they are testing our patience rather than our combat skills, Quinneth suggested, studying his map display. Vextor was eating from his rations when he suddenly stopped. Do you hear that? He asked. Everyone became quiet. At first, Jake heard nothing unusual. Then he caught it too, a low, growling sound coming from the trees around them. It was not just one animal. There were several, and they were getting closer. Buddy jumped down from Jake's shoulder and landed on the ground. The little creature's body became tense, and his ears pointed forward. A soft growling sound came from his throat, so quiet that only Jake could hear it. What kind of animals live on this moon? Jake asked. The training files said it was safe, Quinneth replied, but his voice sounded worried. Only small herbivores. And insects. The growling grew louder. Then Jake saw movement in the trees. Large shapes were moving through the shadows, circling the clearing. He counted at least 6 of them, maybe more. Ravagers, Vextor whispered, his voice filled with fear. How did Ravagers get on a training moon? Jake had read about Ravagers in the military files. They were some of the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. Each one was the size of a large horse, with 6 legs and razor-sharp claws. They had thick armor plating and moved faster than most vehicles. Worst of all, they were intelligent pack hunters. The first Ravager stepped into the clearing. It was even more frightening than the pictures Jake had seen. Its skin was black and shiny, covered in natural armor. Its 6 legs ended in claws that could cut through metal. Its mouth was full of teeth like knives, and its eyes glowed red in the jungle light. Combat formation. Kexval shouted, but his voice cracked with panic. The aliens tried to form a defensive circle, but they were too scared to think clearly. Kexval's ceremonial combat training had never prepared him for real monsters. His hands shook as he tried to aim his weapons. Quinneth's tactical analysis was useless against creatures that moved too fast for his calculations. His crystal body started flashing different colors as his stress levels rose. Vextor's heavy weapon was powerful, but the Ravagers were too quick. They moved like shadows, appearing and disappearing before he could get a clear shot. 3 more Ravagers emerged from the trees. They spread out around the clearing, cutting off all escape routes. Jake could see the intelligence in their movements. They were working together, planning their attack. "We need to retreat," Quinneth called out, but there was nowhere to go. The lead Ravager made a sound like a roar mixed with a scream. It was the signal for attack. All 6 creatures charged at once, their claws digging into the soft ground as they ran. The alien formation fell apart immediately. Kexval fired his weapons wildly, missing every shot. Vextor tried to use his heavy gun, but the Ravagers were too close and moving too fast. Quinneth stumbled backward and fell, his crystal body hitting the ground hard. Jake saw one of the Ravagers heading straight for the fallen Quinneth. The crystal alien was hurt and could not move quickly enough to escape. Without thinking, Jake ran toward him, putting himself between the Ravager and the injured alien. The Ravager was huge up close, bigger than Jake had imagined. Its red eyes focused on him, and its mouth opened to show rows of deadly teeth. Jake had no weapons that could hurt such a creature. His training scores were the worst in the group. He was about to face a monster that could kill him in seconds, but Jake was not alone. Buddy had been watching everything, and now the small creature moved. He jumped from Jake's shoulder and landed on the ground between Jake and the approaching Ravager. The Ravager paused, confused by the tiny animal that dared to challenge it. The other aliens were too busy running and screaming to notice what was happening. They had no idea that everything was about to change. Jake knelt down beside Quinneth, who was bleeding from cuts on his crystal body. "Stay down," Jake whispered. "This is going to get interesting." Buddy stood perfectly still, facing the massive Ravager. The little creature showed no fear, even though the monster was 50 times his size. His black eyes were focused and calm. His muscles tensed under his fur. The Ravager took another step forward, its claws clicking on the ground. It opened its mouth and roared, trying to scare the small animal away. Buddy did not move. He made a soft sound, almost like a purr. But Jake knew better. He had heard that sound before, back on Earth. It was not a purr of contentment. It was the sound a predator makes just before it strikes. Maya's war against the arena had been going on for 3 weeks. What started as simple survival had become something much bigger. She was not just killing individual beasts anymore. She was destroying the entire system the aliens had built. The arena ecosystem was falling apart. Maya had figured out which creatures were the key species that kept everything balanced. By killing them in specific ways, she created a chain reaction that spread through the entire pit. First, she eliminated the scavengers that cleaned up after the big predators. Without the scavengers, rotting meat piled up everywhere. The smell attracted different kinds of creatures from the deep caves. Creatures that were supposed to stay hidden came out to feed. Next, she poisoned the water supply at 3 different springs. Not enough to kill everything, but enough to make the creatures sick and desperate. Sick predators became unpredictable. They attacked each other instead of working together. Then she began targeting the breeding pairs of the most dangerous species. Maya had learned to track the creatures' mating patterns from Lisa's scientific knowledge. By killing the breeding adults, she prevented new generations from being born. The aliens watching from above were no longer entertained. They were confused and angry. The arena that had provided perfect entertainment for decades was becoming a nightmare. Zarthok stood in his control room, staring at the screens that showed the chaos below. Dead creatures lay everywhere. The survivors were fighting each other, instead of hunting prisoners. The carefully maintained balance was completely destroyed. "How did this happen?" he roared at Kexandra. "The arena was perfect. Nothing could disrupt it. The human female has been systematically destroying our ecosystem," Kexandra replied, her voice shaking. "She understands predator-prey relationships better than we do. She has turned our own arena against us. That is impossible. No single creature can destroy what we have built. She is not working alone. She has organized the other prisoners into a hunting pack. They are using tactics we have never seen. They are not just surviving anymore, they are winning." Zarthok's massive fist smashed into the control panel. "Then we will flood the arena with our strongest beasts. We will release everything we have. The human will learn what real monsters look like." But Maya already knew what real monsters looked like. She had been living with them for weeks. More importantly, she had been learning from them. The signal that new beasts were being released came from the feeding tubes that dropped into the arena. But instead of food, metal doors opened in the walls. Creatures came out that Maya had never seen before. These were the apex predators, the ones the aliens kept for special occasions. There was a thing like a giant spider with metal legs and acid breath. There was a creature that looked like a walking tree with branches full of thorns. There was something that changed color too. Match its surroundings, making it nearly invisible. Maya's team was ready. They had prepared for this moment. Over the past weeks, they had built weapons, armor, and traps. They had also learned to work together like a real military unit. "This is it," Maya told her team. "They are throwing everything at us, but we know this arena better than they do. We have been living in it, fighting in it. We are part of it now." The first creature to attack was the metal spider. It came straight for Maya, moving faster than anything that size should be able to move. Its acid breath could melt stone. Maya did not run. She led the creature toward a trap she had built weeks earlier. It was a pit covered with loose rocks, positioned near one of the poisoned water springs. The spider followed her, spraying acid that missed her by inches. When the creature stepped on the covered pit, the rocks gave way. It fell into the contaminated water below. The acid that was meant to kill Maya mixed with the poisoned water. The creature died from its own weapon. The tree creature was harder to kill. Its thorn branches could reach anywhere in its area, and its bark was too thick for normal weapons. But Maya had learned something important about it from watching the other creatures avoid it. The tree creature was afraid of fire. Maya had prepared for this. She had collected oil from the dead beasts and materials that would burn. When the tree creature cornered her team in a narrow canyon, she set everything on fire. The creature screamed as the flames reached its branches. It tried to escape, but Maya had chosen the location carefully. The canyon walls trapped it. The tree creature burned until nothing was left but ash. The invisible creature was the most dangerous. Maya could not see it coming. It killed 2 of her team members before she figured out how to fight it. The answer came from Lisa's scientific knowledge. The creature used heat sensing to hunt, but it also gave off heat when it moved. Maya used the thermal springs in the arena to confuse its senses, then tracked it by the heat it produced. The final battle took place in the deepest part of the arena. Maya faced the invisible creature alone, using every skill she had learned. The fight lasted an hour. When it was over, Maya was wounded, but alive. The creature was dead, but the real victory was not in killing the beasts. It was in what happened. Next, the arena was silent. There were no more predators left alive. The ecosystem was completely destroyed. The entertainment that had lasted for decades was finished. Above the arena, the alien spectators were leaving. They were not cheering anymore. They were afraid. The human had done something that should have been impossible. She had turned their perfect killing machine into a graveyard dot in the control room. Zarthok stared at the screens in shock. The arena floor was covered with the bodies of his most prized creatures. The human female stood in the center of it all, covered in blood but still alive. "Impossible," he whispered. "Not impossible," Cassandra replied. Inevitable. We underestimated them. We thought they were just another prey species, but humans are not prey. They are apex predators, and we just gave one of them the perfect hunting ground. Maya looked up at the control room windows. She could see the aliens watching her. She raised her weapon, a blade made from the claw of the first creature she had killed. It was a salute and a threat at the same time. She was no longer the frightened prisoner they had thrown into the pit. She was something new, something they had created by trying to break her. She was their worst nightmare, and she was just getting started. The Ravager roared again and charged at the small furry creature standing in its path. Its 6 legs moved like lightning, and its claws dug deep grooves in the ground. The monster was moving so fast that it looked like a black blur. Buddy waited until the last possible second. Then something incredible happened. The little creature's body changed. His muscles grew larger under his fur. His claws, which had always looked small and harmless, extended until they were as long as knives. His cute round ears became pointed and alert. His friendly black eyes turned cold and focused, but the most shocking change was his speed. As the Ravager's massive claws swept toward him, Buddy moved faster than anything Jake had ever seen. He dodged to the side so quickly that he seemed to disappear and reappear in a different spot. The Ravager's claws hit empty air. The creature was confused. It had been hunting for many years, and nothing had ever moved that fast. It turned its head, looking for the small animal that had somehow escaped. Buddy was already moving. He leaped onto the Ravager's back leg and began climbing. His claws found grip points in the creature's armor plating. The Ravager tried to shake him off, but Buddy held on tight. In seconds, Buddy reached the monster's neck. He knew exactly where to strike. His claws found the soft spot between the armor plates, and he cut deep. The Ravager made a horrible screaming sound and tried to reach Buddy with its front claws, but the little creature was already gone. Buddy jumped away from the dying Ravager and landed softly on the ground. The massive creature fell with a crash that shook the earth. Black blood pooled around its body. The other Ravagers stopped their attack on the panicking aliens. They had never seen anything kill their pack leader so quickly. They gathered around the clearing, growling and trying to understand what had happened. Jake stood up slowly, still protecting the wounded Quinneth. He was not surprised by what Buddy had done. He had seen it before, back on Earth during their training together. But the alien recruits were staring with their mouths open. Impossible, Kexval whispered. His forearms were shaking as he held his useless weapons. How did that tiny creature kill a Ravager? Some kind of trick, Vextor said, but his voice was uncertain. Maybe the Ravager was already sick or injured. 3 more Ravagers entered the clearing. They were angry about their dead pack leader, and they wanted revenge. They spread out, surrounding Jake and Buddy. These creatures were smarter now, more careful. They had learned that the small animal was dangerous. Buddy looked at Jake and made a soft chirping sound. It was a signal they had used many times during training. Jake nodded and moved to his left, giving Buddy room to work. The first Ravager attacked from the right. Buddy was ready. He rolled under the creature's body and slashed at its belly, where the armor was thinnest. The Ravager stumbled and fell. Its 6 legs tangled together. The second Ravager tried to catch Buddy while he was busy with the first. But Buddy's ears were sharp, and he heard it coming. He spun around and jumped straight up, higher than anyone thought possible. As he came down, his claws found the creature's eyes. The Ravager went blind instantly and crashed into a tree. The third Ravager was the smartest. It waited and watched, learning from the mistakes of the others. When Buddy landed on the ground, tired from his previous fights, the Ravager charged with perfect timing, but the creature had made one mistake. It had forgotten about Jake. Jake picked up a fallen branch and threw it at the Ravager's head. The branch was not heavy enough to hurt the monster, but it distracted it for just a moment. That was all Buddy needed. The little creature leaped onto the Ravager's face and began cutting. His claws moved so fast they looked like blurs. In seconds, the third Ravager was down, joining its pack members on the ground. The remaining Ravagers backed away. They had lost 4 of their pack, and they could not understand how. The small creature was still standing, ready to fight more. They made angry sounds, but they did not attack. Instead, they turned and ran back into the jungle. Disappearing into the shadows, the clearing became quiet except for the heavy breathing of the frightened aliens. Jake knelt down and checked on Quinneth's wounds. The crystal alien was hurt, but not seriously. He would survive. Buddy walked over to Jake, his body slowly returning to normal size. His claws shortened and his muscles relaxed. He looked like a harmless pet again, but everyone had seen what he really was. "What is that thing?" Kexval asked. His voice was full of fear and respect. "His name is Buddy," Jake said calmly. "He's my partner?" "Partner?" Vextor stepped closer, his huge gun still ready. "That creature is a weapon, a living weapon." "He's not a weapon," Jake said. "He's a Terran combat specialist. We've been working together for 3 years. The aliens looked at each other with confusion. They had never heard of anything like this before. In their cultures, animals were either pets, food, or dangerous wild creatures to be avoided. The idea of a partnership between 2 different species was strange to them. "How is this possible?" Quinneth asked. His crystal body was still flashing different colors from stress and pain. "No animal can be trained to fight like that." "Buddy wasn't trained," Jake explained. "He was bred. On Earth, we spent thousands of years learning to work with other species. We took the best traits from our most effective predators and enhanced them with genetic modifications. Buddy is faster, stronger, and smarter than any natural animal." Jake scratched behind Buddy's ears, and the creature made a happy purring sound. "But the most important thing is trust. Buddy and I have been through combat training together. We know each other's moves. We communicate without words. We're a team. Your planet makes living weapons?" Kexval's voice was filled with horror. "We make partners," Jake corrected. "There's a difference. Buddy chooses to work with me. He's not a slave or a machine. He's intelligent and has his own personality. If he didn't want to fight, he wouldn't." Commander Valkyries' voice came through their communication devices. "All units report status. We detected seismic activity in your area." "This is Squad 7, Jake replied. "We encountered hostile Ravagers. The area is now secure." "Ravagers?" The commander's voice was sharp with concern. "There are no Ravagers on Kepler 7. How many casualties?" "1 injured, sir. Quinneth has minor cuts but can walk. No fatalities." There was a long pause. "How did you survive an encounter with multiple Ravagers?" Jake looked at his alien teammates. They were all staring at him and Buddy with new understanding. The mockery and laughter were gone from their faces. "We worked as a team, sir," Jake said. "Return to base immediately for debriefing," Commander Valkyries ordered as they prepared. To leave the clearing, Kexval approached Jake. The proud warrior's attitude had completely changed. "I owe you an apology, human. I was wrong about you and your companion. We all were," Quinneth added. "You saved my life when you could have saved yourself instead," Vextor nodded slowly. "The way you fought together was like nothing I have ever seen. You moved like one creature with 2 bodies." Jake helped Quinneth to his feet. "That's what partnership means. We're stronger together than we are apart." As they walked back through the jungle, Buddy rode on Jake's shoulder again. But now the other aliens looked at the small creature with respect instead of amusement. They had learned that sometimes the most dangerous things come in small packages, and they had learned that humans were not as weak as they had thought. They were just different. Instead of relying on individual strength, humans had found a way to multiply their power through cooperation and trust. Jake smiled as they made their way back to the landing zone. The real training was just beginning. Back aboard the Starforge, the atmosphere in the medical bay was tense. Quinneth lay on a treatment table while medical robots worked on his crystal body. The cuts were not deep, but they needed special care to prevent infection. The other recruits sat nearby, still trying to process what they had witnessed in the jungle. Commander Valkyries entered the medical bay with several officers. His silver face showed no emotion, but his black eyes were focused and serious. He looked at each recruit carefully before speaking. I have reviewed the sensor data from your mission, he said. The readings show that 6 Ravagers were killed in less than 5 minutes. The energy signatures indicate that no heavy weapons were used. Explain. The alien recruits looked at each other uncertainly. They had seen it happen, but they still found it hard to believe. HFY spoke first. Sir, the human's companion killed the Ravagers. We saw it with our own eyes. A creature the size of a small pet killed 6 Ravagers? Commander Valkyries' voice was flat. That is impossible. I have detailed scanner records, Quinneth said from his medical table. The creature's body mass increased by 40% during combat. Its speed exceeded anything in our databases. Its tactical awareness was comparable to a trained military officer. Commander Valkyries turned to Jake. Explain your companion's abilities. Jake stood at attention. Sir, Buddy is a Terran combat specialist. He was bred and trained on Earth specifically for military partnership operations. Bred how? One of the officers asked. Earth has many predator species, Jake explained. We studied their hunting patterns, their physical abilities, and their intelligence. Then we used genetic science to combine the best traits into a single creature. Buddy has the speed of a cheetah, the climbing ability of a monkey, the intelligence of a dolphin, and the tactical instincts of a wolf. And you claim this creature chooses to work with you? Commander Valkyries asked. Yes, sir. Buddy and I have been partners for 3 years. We train together, eat together, and fight together. He's not a pet or a weapon. He's my teammate. The commander walked over to where Buddy was sitting quietly beside Jake's chair. The small creature looked up at him with calm black eyes. May I examine him? Jake nodded. Buddy, meet Commander Valkyries. Buddy stood up and approached the commander. He sat down in front of the tall alien and waited. Commander Valkyries reached out slowly and touched Buddy's head. The creature allowed the examination without fear. Remarkable, the commander said. I can feel the intelligence in his mind. He's evaluating me, judging whether I'm a threat or an ally. He's very good at reading people, Jake said. It's part of his training. What other abilities does he have? Another officer asked. Enhanced senses, Jake replied. He can smell emotions, hear heartbeats, and see in almost complete darkness. His reflexes are 10 times faster than a normal animal. He can climb any surface and fit through spaces much smaller than his body appears. And Earth has more creatures like this? Commander Valkyries asked. Many different types, Jake said. Some are built for stealth operations. Others are designed for heavy combat. Some are specialists in detection and tracking. Each human soldier is paired with a companion that matches their skills and personality. Vextor leaned forward. How many human soldiers have these companions? About half, Jake answered. Not everyone is suitable for partnership. It takes years of training to learn how to work together effectively, and not every creature bonds with a human. Both partners have to choose each other. This changes everything, Quinneth said from his medical table. We assumed humans were weak because your individual test scores were low, but you were never intended to fight alone. That's correct, Jake said. Human military doctrine is based on cooperation and teamwork. We don't try to be the strongest or the fastest. We try to be the most effective through partnership. Commander. Valkyries accessed a data terminal and began reading files. I am reviewing Earth's military records. It says here that human forces have never lost a battle when fighting alongside their companions. We've only had 3 real wars since we developed the companion program, Jake explained. Each time we won quickly with very few casualties. Most conflicts end when the enemy realizes what they're facing. And your government sent you here alone to hide this capability? One of the officers asked. Not to hide it, Jake said. To teach it. Earth wants to share the companion program with other species. But we had to prove that it works first. That's why I'm here. The room was quiet for a long moment. The alien recruits were thinking about what this meant. Their entire understanding of human capabilities had been wrong. Could other species form similar partnerships? HFY asked. We think so, Jake said. Earth has studied the biology and psychology of many species. Most intelligent races have the capacity for emotional bonding and cooperative behavior. The main barrier is cultural, not biological. What do you mean? Quinneth asked. Most species focus on individual achievement and competition, Jake explained. They see cooperation as weakness or as a tool to be used temporarily. Humans learned long ago that true partnership requires mutual respect and shared goals. You're saying we need to change our entire approach to military training? Vextor asked. Not change it, Jake said. Expand it. Individual skills are still important, but they become much more powerful when combined with partnership abilities. Commander Velcaris closed the data terminal. I am sending a report to High Command recommending that we restructure our training program. Human partnership principles will be integrated into all future classes. Sir, Jake said, there's something else you should know. Buddy isn't the only companion on this station. What do you mean? 3 more humans arrived yesterday. They're in the next training group. Each has a different type of companion. One has an aquatic specialist for underwater operations. Another has a tunneling expert for underground missions. The third has a flyer for aerial reconnaissance. The aliens looked at each other with amazement. How many different types of companions does Earth have? Kexval asked. Over 200 specialized breeds, Jake said. Each one is designed for specific types of missions and partnerships. We've been developing them for over a century. This explains why your species was so confident about joining the galactic community, Commander Velcaris said. You weren't coming as junior partners. You were coming as teachers. We want to learn from other species too, Jake said. Earth has much to offer, but we also have much to learn. The galaxy is full of incredible abilities and knowledge that could benefit everyone. Quinneth sat up on his medical table. I want to learn about partnership. My species values individual intelligence, but we've never considered how much more we could achieve by working with other minds. I want to try it too, Vextor said. My people are strong, but we fight alone. Maybe we could be stronger together. The companion program isn't just about military applications, Jake explained. On Earth, we have partnerships for medical work, scientific research, artistic creation, and many other fields. The principles are the same: mutual respect, shared goals, and communication. How long would it take to train other species in these methods? Commander Velcaris asked. That depends on the species and the individual, Jake said. Some people learn quickly. Others need more time, but everyone can learn the basics. The most important thing is being willing to trust and be trusted. Buddy made a soft chirping sound and walked over to Quinneth's medical table. He sat down beside the injured alien and looked up at him with friendly eyes. I think he likes you, Jake said to Quinneth. He can sense that you're genuinely interested in learning. Quinneth reached down carefully and touched Buddy's head. The small creature closed his eyes and made a happy purring sound. He's so warm, Quinneth said with wonder. I can feel his contentment. That's how partnership begins, Jake said. With simple kindness and understanding. Commander Velcaris made notes on his datapad. I will arrange for the new human recruits to demonstrate their companions' abilities. We need to understand the full scope of what Earth has developed. They'll be happy to help, Jake said. That's why we're here. As the meeting ended, the alien recruits gathered around Jake and Buddy. They had many questions about partnership, about Earth, and about the future of galactic military cooperation. Jake answered each question patiently, while Buddy greeted. Each alien with friendly curiosity. The change in attitude was remarkable. Less than a day ago, these same aliens had been mocking Jake and calling Buddy a useless pet. Now they were eager to learn from both of them. Jake smiled as he watched Buddy interact with his new admirers. The little creature was enjoying the attention, but Jake could see the intelligence in his eyes. Buddy understood that they had accomplished something important today. They had proven that humans and their companions deserved respect. More importantly, they had opened the door to a new kind of cooperation that could benefit the entire galaxy. 2 months after the Ravager incident, life on the Starforge had changed completely. The training program now included partnership exercises, and Jake had become an unofficial instructor. He taught the alien recruits how to communicate without words, how to trust their teammates, and how to work together as a single unit. Kexval had made the most progress. The proud Zephyrian warrior had learned to share leadership duties and coordinate attacks with his squad mates. His 4 arms, which had once been used for individual combat, now worked to support and protect others. Quinneth used his analytical mind to study partnership patterns. He created training programs that helped different species learn to work together despite their biological and cultural differences. His crystal body had healed completely, and he often said that being injured had been the best thing that ever happened to him. Even Vextor had changed. The massive Gorduk had learned that his strength was most effective when he protected smaller, faster teammates. He practiced moving in formation and providing cover fire while others completed objectives. The 3 new human recruits had arrived and integrated into the program. Lisa Wong had brought an aquatic companion named Splash, a sleek creature that could breathe underwater and move like a torpedo. Ganny Brooks partnered with Digger, a muscular animal that could tunnel through solid rock with its powerful claws. Amy Foster worked with Wings, a flying companion that could scout ahead and provide aerial support. Each human companion team brought new tactical options to the training exercises. The alien recruits were amazed by the diversity of abilities and the seamless coordination between human and companion. Commander Velcaris had submitted his reports to High Command, and the response had been immediate. Military leaders from across the galaxy wanted to see these partnership techniques in action. The Starforge was selected to host a special demonstration for visiting officials. On the morning of the demonstration, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed in the corridors and emergency announcements echoed from the speakers. "All personnel to battle stations," Commander Velcaris' voice announced. "We have confirmed Hivemind forces approaching the station. This is not a drill." Jake felt his stomach drop. The Hivemind was the galaxy's greatest threat. They were an alien species that shared a collective consciousness, making them incredibly difficult to fight. Individual Hivemind soldiers were not particularly strong, but they moved and attacked as a perfect unit. No one had ever defeated a large Hivemind force. The recruits gathered in the main hangar, where Commander Velcaris was coordinating the defense. Military officers ran back and forth, preparing weapons and organizing evacuation procedures. "The Hivemind fleet jumped into our system 20 minutes ago," the commander explained. "They have launched assault pods toward the station. Estimated arrival time is 1 hour. What about reinforcements?" Kexval asked. "The nearest fleet is 6 hours away," Commander Velcaris replied. "We have to hold the station until they arrive." Jake stepped forward. "Sir, request permission for the recruit squad to participate in the defense." "Negative," the commander said immediately. "You are not ready for real combat against the Hivemind." "With respect, sir," Jake said, "we are the only unit on this station trained in coordinated partnership tactics. The Hivemind's strength comes from their unity. We can match that." Commander Velcaris looked at the alien recruits. They were nervous but determined. "Do you all agree with this?" "Yes, sir," Quinneth said. "We want to fight together." "The human partnership methods are our best chance," Vextor added. "We have been training for this." The commander was quiet for a moment, then he nodded. "Very well. But you will follow." "My orders exactly. No heroics, no individual actions. You fight as a unit or not at all." The next hour passed quickly. The recruits prepared their equipment and reviewed their tactics. Jake made sure Buddy had eaten and was ready for combat. The other human companions were also prepared, each one calm and focused. The first assault pods hit the station's outer hull with thunderous crashes. Emergency reports came in from all sections. The Hivemind soldiers were cutting through the walls with plasma torches, trying to reach the station's vital systems. "Squad 7, proceed to Section 12, Commander Velcaris ordered. "Hivemind forces have breached the power generator room. Stop them before they can cause critical damage." The squad moved through the corridors in perfect formation. Jake and Buddy took point, using the creature's enhanced senses to detect enemies ahead. Lisa and Splash covered the left flank, ready to handle any threats from the water recycling systems. Danny and Digger watched for enemies trying to come through the walls. Amy and Wings provided overhead reconnaissance through the station's air ducts. The alien recruits had learned to work with the human companion teams seamlessly. Kexval coordinated the overall movement using hand signals that everyone understood. Quinneth monitored their tactical position and suggested route changes. Vextor provided heavy fire support and protected the group's rear. They reached Section 12 to find chaos. 20 hive mind soldiers were working to destroy the main power generator. The insectoid creatures moved with perfect coordination, each one performing a specific task without any visible communication. "Remember," Jake whispered, "they think as one mind. If we can confuse their coordination, we can beat them." The squad split into 3 groups as they had practiced. Jake's group attacked from the front, drawing the hive mind's attention. Lisa's group came from the side, using Splash's speed to hit the enemy's weak points. Amy's group provided support from above, with Wings dropping small explosives on key targets. The alien recruits supported each human companion team perfectly. When Buddy engaged a hive mind soldier in close combat, Kexval provided covering fire. When Splash needed to retreat and reposition, Quinneth created a tactical distraction. When Digger tunneled under the enemy formation, Vextor was ready. With heavy weapons to exploit the opening, the hive mind soldiers were confused by the mixed tactics. They were used to fighting enemies that used predictable patterns. But the human-alien partnerships created completely new combat styles that the hive mind could not anticipate. The battle lasted only 10 minutes. All 20 hive mind soldiers were eliminated without any casualties to the squad. The power generator was saved, and the station's defenses remained online. Similar reports came in from other sections. The hive mind forces had been stopped at every breakthrough point. The station's defenders had held long enough for the relief fleet to arrive. After the battle, Commander Velcaris gathered the squad in the main hangar. His silver face showed something that might have been pride. "I have received commendations from High Command," he said. "Your performance today exceeded all expectations. The partnership tactics developed here will be implemented throughout the Cosmic Defense Corps." "It wasn't just the tactics, sir," Jake said. "It was the trust. Everyone on this squad learned to depend on each other completely." "The human was." "Right from the beginning," Kexval said. "Individual strength means nothing without teamwork. My analysis shows that our effectiveness increased by over 300% when we started working as true partners," Quinneth added. "I never knew fighting could feel like this," Vextor said. "I was not just protecting myself, I was protecting my family." Commander Velcaris nodded. "That is exactly what the galaxy needs. The hive mind can only be defeated by forces that work together better than they do." Over the following weeks, military units from dozens of species came to the Starforge to learn partnership techniques. The humans and their companions became teachers, showing aliens how to form bonds that went beyond simple cooperation. Jake watched from the observation deck as new recruits arrived. Many of them brought animal companions from their own worlds, hoping to develop partnerships similar to what humans had achieved. "You did it," Commander Velcaris said, joining Jake at the window. "You changed how the galaxy thinks about warfare." "We all did it," Jake replied. "Humans just showed the way. Every species has the capacity for partnership. They just needed to learn how to trust." Buddy chirped softly from Jake's shoulder. The little creature was watching the new arrivals with interest. Some of them looked promising. With time and training, they might become the next generation of galactic defenders. "What's next for you?" the commander asked. "More teaching," Jake said. "Earth is sending specialist instructors for different types of partnerships. Combat is just the beginning. We want to share partnership techniques for science, medicine, exploration, and peaceful cooperation. And the galaxy will be stronger." "For it," Commander Velcaris said. Jake smiled as he watched a young alien recruit gently pat a small furry creature. The alien was clumsy and uncertain, but the animal seemed patient and willing to learn. It reminded Jake of his first day with Buddy, 3 years ago on Earth. Neither of them had known what they were getting into. They had just been willing to try to trust and to grow together. Now that simple willingness was changing the galaxy, one partnership at a time.